My daughter was fighting for her life in the ICU when my dad called me. I thought he was checking on her, but instead he said, "Tomorrow is your brother's birthday. Your mother needs help getting everything ready." I stared at the hospital wall in absolute shock. "Dad, Emma is in intensive care," I said. "I haven't left her side in 3 days." He didn't even hesitate. "You can come for a few hours. Your brother only turns 30 once." Growing up, everything revolved around my younger brother, Ryan. If Ryan needed money, Dad found it. If Ryan wrecked a car, Dad bought him a new one. But when I needed help paying for college, I just got a lecture about responsibility. The rules were always different for us. "Dad," I said quietly, "I'm not leaving my daughter." His voice instantly hardened into pure ice. "If that's your choice, don't expect anything from us anymore. You're completely cut off." I actually had to suppress a laugh. I was 42 years old, happily married, owned a home, and hadn't taken a single dime from him in decades. Yet, he still thought that old threat held power over me. "My daughter comes first," I told him. He snapped, "Then live with your decision," and slammed the phone down. For the first time in my life, I didn't call back. I blocked his number on the spot. Then, I blocked my mother's number too. The next day was Ryan's milestone birthday. Photos flooded social media. It was a massive party with lavish decorations everywhere, and my dad was smiling proudly right next to Ryan. Nobody called us. Nobody texted. Nobody even asked if Emma was still breathing. Late that afternoon, I was sitting by Emma's bed when her fingers suddenly twitched. Then, her eyes opened. Doctors and nurses rushed into the room, and for the first time in days, we finally had hope. That evening, after the chaos settled, Emma looked up at me weakly. "Dad," she whispered. I leaned in close. "Yeah, sweetheart," she swallowed hard. "What about Grandpa?" I froze. "What about him?" Emma looked away, her voice trembling. "I heard him on the phone. I heard him yelling at you." The room suddenly felt incredibly cold. She had been partially conscious during that brutal call. She looked back at me and quietly said, "I'm glad you stayed." A month later, Emma was finally back home recovering. That's when the flying monkeys started calling. Aunts, cousins, and eventually Ryan. Every single conversation followed the exact same script. Dad didn't mean it. Dad was just stressed. It was hilarious how nobody had been stressed about Emma, only about Dad's hurt pride. Then, a cousin accidentally let it slip that Dad was actively updating his estate plans. Suddenly, his bizarre threat made perfect sense. He thought inheritance gave him absolute power over me. He thought I'd panic. But Dad didn't know that my wife and I had quietly built our own wealth through investments and rental properties. We were entirely financially secure. A week later, a certified package arrived from his attorney. Dad had removed me completely, leaving everything to Ryan. There was a handwritten note inside from my father that read, "Actions have consequences." I smiled, signed the paperwork, and mailed it right back. No begging, no arguments. But then, I called my own attorney. Years ago, Dad convinced me to stay involved in a joint business arrangement that heavily benefited him financially. I legally withdrew my assets immediately. Everything was clean, documented, and completely within my rights. The consequences hit him way faster than he expected. Several of his major financial benefits instantly vanished, and his top clients chose to leave him and follow me instead. Dad started frantically calling me from burner numbers. Blocked. Ryan tried calling. Ignored. On Thanksgiving, my family rented a peaceful cabin by a lake. No drama, no guilt, just pure peace. As I watched Emma smile by the water, my phone buzzed with an unknown number. The text read, "We need you." I looked at it for a second, then hit delete. Emma asked, "Who was that?" I slipped the phone into my pocket. "Nobody important."